Hello, and welcome to Weed and Grub.
Do you like how I always am like, we're ready to go, and then I take a big sip of water?
You do. Every single
Sorry.
time. You hit record, and then you...
I get nervous.
What are you nervous
I used to, when I was acting, before I would go on stage, I would have like a huge fucking glass of water right in the wings, and I would always take like a big slug before. It's like, I don't know, something happens. It's like Cottonmouth, but it's from a different cause. It's not the weed, it's the nerves.
Yeah, well, it's all tied together. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How weird that your saliva betrays you. That's like the first sign of anxiety is
Yeah.
is your saliva like running away.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It is wild. I've been listening to my saliva a lot lately too, because I'm doing meditations, and like when you sit, you just listen to everything inside and outside your body and in the room and in the world, and you can hear your body like, you know, well, it's like that joke you have. What's your
Well, I don't want to start doing stand up on here, but like, is that the best way to meditate? Because I'm trying to do it a little more, is to just be present and hear all, like, even though you
can hear your body
I'm gurgling,
making saliva and any other, like you just listen. Like the crazy thing is that I realized my teacher in theater school was actually teaching us how to meditate, because we used to do this exercise where you would lie on the floor and you would listen to your breath, and then you would listen to the sounds in the room, and then you would listen to the sounds outside, and then he would bring you back in and you'd listen to the room again, and then yourself. That's honestly the beginnings of it. You just listen to what's happening in the moment, because the crazy thing is, and this is so elementary, but I just kind of realized it when I took this mindfulness class from my friend Dorit, shout out Dorit at Kindfulness, that sound is the only thing that happens in the moment, that you can, like, it's not happening in the past or in the future. Thoughts can happen, you know, you're remembering or you're projecting into the future, you know, memories or anticipation, all that kind of stuff, the virtual reality inside your head. But if you anchor yourself to a sound, that's absolutely in the moment.
Wow. Mind blown. 1 minute in, is this the ep? Should we drop?
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Wow.
Yeah.
Sound is the only thing in the moment.
Not the only thing. I mean, there's also sensation, you know, like what's
yeah, but even
happening.
that has to travel from my tip to brain.
Well, sound travels too.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay. I don't want to like get into the semantics of like which are present, which are. But the idea of like sound grounding myself is really cool.
Yeah, that's a way to just make sure that you're in the present. Like if you relax into the awareness of the sound that's happening inside your body, in the room that you're in, outside the room that you're in, that can help you just be in the moment.
That makes me think about how social media is the most triggering but most addictive thing in the world, because it's so out of control and there is no present. Because you're seeing things from 11 hours ago, you're seeing things now, you're seeing news, and it's just this barrage that feels in the moment, but really it's just chaos from before, during, and after, which is why your brain gets so scrambled.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
And yeah. Yep. I don't even have anything to add to that. And I was like, well,
it's
and
okay.
Nothing.
Honestly, it was my subconscious being like, you should say something smart. Make sure you are also here.
Well, now you across from him say something too. And then Mike say something. And then Mary Jane say something. And that's what this podcast is.
What up, Mary Jane?
How's it going, Mike?
Ooh, hot beginning. This is fun. Welcome to Weed and Grub, everyone. This is a podcast about comedy, cooking, culture, cannabis, calling shit out, and calming down.
Mindfulness, meditation, breathing. Yeah, all that shit.
Wild.
Yeah.
Well, we have something we kind of needed to talk about at the top of this episode, because we are trying to go back to South by Southwest for the first time, if that makes sense.
Right. We were supposed to go to South by... We were kind of like on the way, I feel like. I mean, we were like loading up the car almost.
It was truly, I think, 3 days before.
In March, before COVID really shut everything down. And so we have reapplied to take the same panel with our guests, Laganja Stranja and Open Mike Eagle, to South by 2021, which will be a virtual event. And our panel is in panel picker right now, and it needs your vote to get us back into the fest. Please.
Go to our Instagram at Weed and Grub, click on our link tree, click on the very first thing that says panel picker, vote here, and vote for us. And if you can do that, thank you so much. If you want to share one of our posts and be like, y'all, you should vote for them. They have a lot to say. Our panel is art, entertainment, and social justice awareness, which kind of encapsulates everything that is important to us, which is why we were so stoked to spread the message across the globe at South by last year, and hopefully we can this year.
Yeah, we want to talk about how weed culture is brought to the mainstream by artists, and how artists are so important in illuminating the counterculture and things that people don't understand, and making everything sort of not only educational and informative, but also fucking fun.
Yeah.
And weed should be fun. Weed is fun. It's also obviously incredibly beneficial and medicinal and all of the other important things, and a huge social justice fucking moment is happening right now where we are trying to get everyone out of prison for something that people are profiting off of. All of that stuff is so fucking important. And also weed is something that we love because it elevates your consciousness and makes you feel great.
Exactly. And as somebody who, on a personal tip, is anti any corporation just on principle before I actually think about it, seeing the corporatization of cannabis happening and the, I'm going to say, abuse of culture and people who have put their heart and soul into it for their entire lives, for some company's bottom line to come take that away and then tout it as their own is not okay. So this is also some part for me where I can just be like, yo, here is why the culture should be combining with the corporatization, and everyone should be working together instead of, at ends. Like, there's room for everyone, but to get there, we have to communicate.
Yeah, and those fucking corporations have loved fucking ignoring our messaging for fucking decades now and being all fucking pro-drug war and fucking funding the thing that sent, hundreds of thousands of people to jail. So fuck those people. Like, let's be on board with the artists, and let's be on board with the fact that I had a point and then I just totally lost it. I was going to get all up on my soapbox about it. But anyway,
our panel's not going to be us high horsing it around. Like, we're not going to stand up there and be like, and another thing. Like, we have a really great panel set up, and with somebody like Laganja and with somebody like Open Mike Eagle, sharing their talent, their own experiences, and how great they are at their own art forms. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we are going to deliver an hour of entertainment that also is educational. That's really the goal.
And how Open Mic and Laganja and you and I, we all fold weed into everything we do. We are not about, solely about cannabis. Obviously, we're all talking about it because we love it, but that's a cornerstone for the rest of the shit that we do as performers, as entertainers, as people who are just, talking out loud about the shit we love to do that is, above and beyond just our love for the plant.
100%. One more thing, and then we can move on.
Okay.
We talk about it all the time, but one of the biggest mistakes I feel like corporations make is that they focus on the weed instead of focusing on people. Mm-hmm. And when you remove people from the equation, it is flat, uninteresting, and nonsense.
Thank you. You're just reminding me of my point. Is it okay if I say it? That I just forgot a minute ago. It was just that there's a company that I'm writing about right now. Part of their fucking mandate as a corporation was to quote unquote veer away from stoner culture. And it was so infuriating to read that in their press release, because why the fuck do you think you have anything to fucking profit from in the first place? Fuck you. As a company to come in and actually tell generations of people who have created this cannabis culture that you're now profiting off of, to say that you want to veer away from that and that fucking better. And I also talked to another guy who fucking runs a magazine, and he was talking about how winners of High Times cannabis cups actually don't know what they're doing as growers, and they need to talk to real farmers, that kind of stuff. I literally I feel hot in my chest right now about it, because there are all of these companies who are trying to tell this entire fucking economy how to fucking run something that they made legal in the first place. So yes, sorry, I just wanted to say that really quickly.
That's it.
Someone coming in and being like, we want to veer away from this stoner culture. I understand maybe you want to bust a stereotype and be like, yeah, we're not all high on beanbags wearing tie-dye necessarily. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I fucking love that whole segment of the weed community, but fuck you. Yep.
That's what we should have titled the, if we get picked again, we should just call it, you know what?
Fuck you. I don't think we'd get very far.
I don't think so either.
Man, yeah, check it out. I don't even think it's in our link tree. I think it's just directly in our bio.
I updated it and added it to the link tree.
Sorry,
you better believe it. Oh, right. I'm on the P's, the Q's, the I's, the T's. I'm crossing and dotting and swirling.
Crossing Q's and dotting P's.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, what? Great, we did it.
Cool. Yeah, vote for us, please. What's next on our... Oh my God, I remember now.
What?
Speaking of exciting plugs.
Oh, my fence eclair?
You got fence eclairs.
Listen, I live in this amazing little bubble right now. I'm so fucking fortunate because I have this little outdoor space. I have a tiny house. I feel very sort of like safe.
You're the witch.
I am like a witch in a tiny house with a dog and a cat. And I have a wonderful neighbor, Joanna, who occasionally will just like give me bounty over the fence. We have a fence in the backyard and we can actually like just reach a plate across. I didn't even see her this last time because the hedge is so overgrown that a hand just came out of the bottle brush bush.
Like the Thing? Like Thing from Addams Family?
No, not at all, because it wasn't scary. Well, I guess Thing is like a good, like Thing does good stuff. No, I don't want to call Joanna a Thing. This was more like a...
The Giving Tree.
Oh, I never read that.
The tree from Lord of the Rings.
No, not an ent. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like the Thing. It was just Joanna and her hand. But she had texted me first and she said, I just need you to come out to the backyard and I'm going to hand you something over the fence. And she gave me a plate and it was full of fresh homemade eclairs. I got fence eclairs.
That's amazing. A homemade eclair. How does that strike you?
It was a pastry that was filled with like piped in fresh whipped cream and then covered in homemade ganache. And they were like perfectly like the puff kind of exploded in your mouth and then the cream. I mean, there's nothing like an eclair. Everyone's had one. I don't need to describe it.
But she nailed it.
She nailed it. Also, I was high when I received them and I ate them kind of like I eat a burrito. It was a one and done, which ties in with later on in this episode. Totally. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just suck that cream, huh?
Yep. I did a one and done. Archie and Bobo were like, "Do we got any?" And I was like, "Nope." That's my eclair.
Wow. Shout out to her. What a cool surprise.
Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah.
Fucking delicious.
Good neighbors, man. Yes. A surprise good neighbor is like something. Living in an apartment complex, I wonder what kind of place our listeners live in, because growing up in the suburbs or growing up in this apartment or being in an apartment complex, you really got to make the effort to make a new friend.
Yeah.
And so I just never do.
Yeah.
And I am curious who out there, COVID aside, has a community that they live in, like a real community where people are knocking on doors and sharing chili recipes and things like that.
Isn't that great? When there was a time, right when I moved to Montreal, there was a friend of mine who lived in a building where they had the fire escape out back and then a courtyard, and then across the way there was another building with that fire escape, and they used to have like those parties that you see in the movies where people would like come down the fire escapes into the courtyard bearing bowls and baguettes and wine and have like steamed mussels, and there would be 20 people and they'd all be smoking cigarettes and they were all like super hot. It was fucking crazy.
That's amazing. A block party.
Yeah. It was beautiful. That was one of my best like neighbory times where I was like, oh yeah, you just like all kind of bring what you have and you gather in a central location. That
what a dream.
Yeah, really, really think about how lucky I was to have that.
Well, now you have fence eclairs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, now I have fence eclairs, exactly.
Things are working out.
Things are working out.
Yeah. Ooh, what would be my dream fence food to get? That would be, I love an eclair too because it's so unexpected.
As opposed to what's expected over a fence.
Like a joint and a cookie.
Yeah, okay. You can see that. Or like a
birthday
slice of pizza.
cake.
Sure. Yeah.
Something like that.
Very
but an
true.
eclair?
Yeah.
Oh man, what would be like a fun like steak? Fence steak?
Fence steak?
We made too many steaks?
I would take a fence fish and chips anytime.
Maybe that's the way pop-ups are going to go from now on, is it's like a cubicle format where everything is over the fence.
Yeah.
And that's how pop-ups work. So like Fence Eclairs is not only a great name for a pop-up, but it's also a safe way to deliver your treats to the populace.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a world in which we all, I mean, like, have you seen people who are like wearing their own social distance sort of equipment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to interrupt for a second.
Oh, what?
But we need to start utilizing glory holes for more opportunities because it is a perfect delivery system for many different items, not just sexual.
Okay.
An eclair?
I don't want a glory hole eclair. I want a fence eclair. Thank you.
I'm regretting interrupting you so much. So much.
Maybe you want a glory hole eclair? I would like mine over the fence on a plate. Thank you. The way I received mine was perfect.
You walk into your backyard and you see me on my knees and you're like, Glazer, what are you doing? And I'm like, turn around, there's an eclair in my mouth.
No more glory, holy Claire's. Glazer, stop. God, you got a problem. I was going to say, have you seen people walking around, or not, I mean, I haven't seen them out in the world, but I've seen them on social media where like they're wearing their own social distancing equipment. Like there was a guy who I saw who just had like suspenders and a hula hoop.
I did see him, and he was like knocking into tables and people like an asshole. Like he looked like Saturn.
Yeah, I just saw a really great one of, I mean, it was really a performance, but it was someone who was in an inflatable My Little Pony costume and high heels, just doing like the most elaborate fucking high kicks dances down the street. Just like, fuck it, get out there, be crazy, wear something large, take your space. Right now is the time to fucking do it.
Fuck yeah, it is. You're making my brain go bananas because I've been thinking a lot about hazmat suits and how they will become fashion. Mm-hmm. There will be Gucci hazmat.
Have you seen Reggie Watts on his IG and the fucking suit that he has, like the air exchange suit?
Yeah, it looks like a total recall. Yeah, total recall. It looks like a total recall space helmet for oxygen.
Yeah, he's been demoing it. It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah, like half of the, like some of us are going to wear those inflatable raptor costumes. Other people are going to be wearing like furry hazmat suits. And everybody has a fishbowl on their head. I
would definitely get a giant inflatable something right now and wear it around. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
Sure. Now is the time to wear giant shit.
Yeah.
And then give people, like hand people eclairs from far away. You know what we all need? We all need giant costumes and grabby sticks.
Oh my God.
And those like little have you seen the delivery robots around West Hollywood?
Totally.
So I would travel with like a delivery robot so I could like program it to open and then someone could reach into that with their grabby stick. There's a whole world in which we can all still go outside.
So
kind of.
my grabby stick inflatable costume situation is an inflatable Bigfoot costume.
Okay.
And one of those grabby sticks. Mm-hmm. And on the end of it is like seasoned waffle fries to hand to everybody.
So messy.
So I would, but I would be a big inflatable Bigfoot handing out waffle fries to friends.
Oh, I like that so much. Are the waffle fries in a paper boat?
No, just a loose waffle fry.
Just
loose ass waffle fries. Yeah, look, if I can whip one into your mouth, how fun is that across the way?
Is there a condiment involved?
You got a lot of notes for somebody getting free waffle fries.
I just want to know, are you following it up with a squirt? Are you flinging it and then squirting something? I need to know.
Yeah, I'll fill a super soaker with malt vinegar.
Great.
And so I flip the waffle fry from my Bigfoot costume. You catch it in your mouth, and then I fucking tag it with a 2-pump malt vinegar squirt.
Holy shit, that's hot. I love this.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a very stoned conversation, and I love it.
My inflatable outfit is, I would love to be like an emu or an ostrich.
Fun.
Like a lot, so you wear it around your whole body, and then the head could actually be the grabby stick,
Ooh, okay, yeah.
So I'm just like standing up in the middle, and then I have like either a robotic or grabby stick programmed head that could then grab things from your plate. And I would do my food that I would have to offer, because this would be a great Burning Man art project, honestly. I would do profiteroles.
What is that?
They're tiny eclairs.
Oh, like those cream puff bitches.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just so inspired by Joanna's fence eclairs. But the profiteroles, instead of cream, they're ice cream usually. So it's the puff pastry with ice cream and then ganache. And you can get an assortment of flavors.
So good. Mm-hmm. What a banana duo we would be walking down the street.
Want a profiterole? Look out! You hit them with some malt vinegar.
What just happened? I think that emu whipped something at you. Where? The one by Bigfoot? Yeah, I think though, that one.
Wow. Fucking fence eclairs. It's fucking great.
You want to get to the news?
I do want to get to the news. Holy shit, it's so fucking crazy this week.
Speaking of crazy shit.
Crazy fucking shit. You guys, this week's news story, the Grub Gazette, coming to you from MaryJane.com, Snoop Dogg's Mary Jane, kind of about Snoop. So the Trump administration, there's a fucking dude who's the head of the health services committee, and his name is Michael Caputo, and he recently had to report in an investigation that he had actually been keeping something called the PSA Celebrity Tracker, which was basically a document that was keeping tabs on celebs who support drug policy reform and other liberal ideas. Straight up McCarthyism shit.
Exactly.
So basically, the Caputo's team wanted to create this ad campaign called "The President, Helping the President Will Help the Country" to celebrate like how great Trump was doing at promoting fucking safety during the coronavirus pandemic.
Okay, so it's using celebrity culture to spin.
It's fucking propaganda.
Propaganda, yeah.
Straight up.
And then grabbing information about celebrities to possibly use in for that campaign.
Yeah, like which of these celebrities are going to be enough, like on our side enough that we could actually invite them to take part in this fucking PSA called "Helping the President Will Help the Country." So they got a list of 300 celebs, including a bunch of pro-weed advocates like Seth Rogen, Snoop, obviously, Aquafina, fucking Jack Black, a bunch of people, and they have so the document, I have it pulled up here, it's so fucking crazy.
How did you get the document?
Mary Jane published it because it was actually released in this investigation by the House Oversight Committee.
Oh my gosh.
It's public fucking knowledge. We can actually drop it in the show notes.
Okay.
It's a fascinating read. And it's just a Google spreadsheet that's not even very well formatted.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Right? And the first column is the celebrity name, and then there's a spot for their answer, whether they said yes or no or pending.
As in to support Trump.
To support this PSA campaign.
Okay.
And then there's a space for notes, and then there's a space where it says what their demographic is. So, for instance, for Dan Aykroyd, for instance. Dan Aykroyd, the notes say Canadian, self-identified spiritualist, some controversial comments related to President Trump's supporters. And then his demographic is Canadians.
Oh my God.
And the general public. So
this is somebody who had homework, waited till the last minute, and then phoned it in.
Like, so much fucking bullshit from yet another, numbnuts in this fucking administration.
Yeah.
Caputo, fucking suck a dick. So the notes for Snoop Dogg say, controversial political comments during elections, critical of President Trump, arrested in 1993 related to driving vehicle related to murder, which was the charge that Snoop was exonerated of, actually.
Mm-hmm, of course.
Right? So, and then Seth Rogen's notes say, describes himself as left-wing, has been outspoken about marijuana legalization. Just this whole, it's
nonsense. Also,
nonsense, and it's fucking dangerous. There have been so many occasions of the government keeping tabs on people who support weed. Of course, like all the Beatles were all on the fucking FBI watch list, and
Have you watched the Snowden Netflix movie with directed by Oliver Stone and starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Tell me about it.
Okay. It is like, this is so tied into that. I watched Snowden, I think around like 2 a.m, took a dab out of the Puffco Pro, and it was harrowing. It's harrowing. Uh-huh. According to this movie, and the beginning of the movie has that disclaimer that's kind of based on events, so it is certainly like within the realm while making sure it's movie entertainment. And they just tapped into every phone, every service, every Gmail, every Facebook. They just have you on fucking lock and can pull any data from you at any time, and then pull data from somebody else that has to do with you, and then use that for blackmail and to move you around and move countries around. And they were using, I'm talking fast, but it's a lot to get through. And they were using cell phones in countries and tracking that cell phone with a drone to have accurate bomb drops. So what you're talking about with I'm going to call it a dossier because I don't know what else to call it.
Sure.
Because it's definitely not.
Well,
There's
this is like the
real
preschool
information.
version. This is like the Google Sheets about people who like to smoke weed, but totally it's all within the same.
But it's like kids who wanted, instead of play cops and robbers, play like political. You want to play governor? You want to play president? That's what that fucking bullshit thing feels like. But they're gathering this information, and who knows how they're gathering it. And that's what Snowden is about, and that's what this sounds like to me.
Well, I think the hilarious thing about this is that they're so fucking incompetent that they gathered this with the Googles. Like, it's just, there's no information in here that's actually intel. It's just like, what did Zach Galifianakis say about weed? Oh, he refused to host President Trump on Between Two Ferns, so he's mad about it. Like, that literally is the note.
Really?
Yeah, refused to host President Trump on his talk show. So Galifianakis is blacklisted from being a part of this celebrity PSA to support Trump's absolute fucking inaction and gross fucking incompetency with the coronavirus pandemic.
So really
cool, guys.
Also,
cool.
it's half boo hoo hoo, but it's also half like a Mean Girls list that Trump is making of all of his enemies for any reason that he can find.
Right. These people who like weed don't like me. And sadly, there are a bunch of people who do like weed who also supported him. So
yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Sure.
The people who support Trump who are
pro-weed and
pro-Trump.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to note, just before we wrap up this story, that Sandra Oh, fellow Canadian, was one of the few celebs on here who was noted as having just straight up declined.
Fucking
like, there's
right.
a lot of pending answer. Like, they just didn't get, like, obviously Cardi B and Beyonce were like, fuck no, I'm not going to answer you.
Yeah.
But Sandra Oh was like, no.
Fucking right.
And Trevor Noah, too.
Hell yes,
Yeah.
good. And Lil Wayne and 50 Cent were both like, today? Can we do it today?
Oh, can we show up? Oh,
Yeah.
and Britney Spears also declined.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Good.
love her. Fucking yeah. So
Oh, man, that's crazy.
It's a crazy story. The whole thing is reported on maryjane.com, and we will post a link to the PSA Celebrity Tracker Google Sheet in the show notes because it's just a fun read when you're high.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, to see a celebrity's name and to see all of the loose information that the Trump campaign has on them.
I would like to be on a list like that someday. You know what?
Yeah.
I'd love to be on a enemy of the state list where it's like, she likes mushrooms. We can't have her advertise anti-drug war propaganda for our fucking bad administration.
Hell yeah, 72-point font, the word no. That's what's up.
Her name is Mary Jane. We think she might be a narc. Anyway, that's Grub Gazette.
It's a really good news story. What else is popping?
I don't know. I was listening to a fucking podcast today that was making me crazy, and I wondered if you had noticed the same trend in any podcast that you're listening to of speech pattern stuff.
I don't listen to the same podcast as you. I think we have very different tastes in what we indulge in.
I would be interested to know if any of our listeners have noticed a trend in podcasts where you give the information and you're talking about the thing, and then you make your point. And then when you go on to talk about the subject that you're talking about and you introduce a new piece of information, you slow it down. And then when you ask me a question, I repeat that question as the form of an answer, and then I break that down. Have you noticed this?
I cannot believe it, yeah.
Makes me crazy.
Let's do one. Let's do one. Can I do one with you?
Yeah.
So I'll just ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We are here today with cannabis enthusiast, culture writer, actor, comedian, and just like a Jill of all trades, if I may, Mary Jane Gibson. Mary Jane.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about what the state is of cannabis in California?
Sure. I would love to talk about the state of cannabis in California, Mike, because it is a mess. And if you really want to know about what's going on with Amendment 64, you could look to the Bureau of Cannabis Control. And then you could also really look to Kat Packer, who is LA's czar of cannabis and is in charge of a lot of the regulations that you need to. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That was like a kind of half-assed attempt because you put me on the spot and I got nervous. Now I have to sip my drink.
Sip it away. Your saliva betrayed you. When your saliva's like, gotta go.
I'm so nervous.
Those inflections and that Ira Glass NPR,
Yes.
the affectation of each syllable to keep your ears engaged is such a trope that drives me crazy.
You're so right. It does have its origins with Ira Glass. He is the first one to do it on This American Life.
Who does it well? You listen to that Whitney Cummings podcast.
She was fucking great, and she actually does do it, and she does it really well. And the crime podcast that I won't mention the name of the podcast that I was listening to because it truly did make me crazy, and I won't recommend it. But
was it Piss Play by furries who?
No, that's your
in
podcast that you were listening to. Stop putting yourself on blast.
I'm pulling a Trump where I'm saying...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was it that dumb baby podcast that you like to listen to while you suck your thumb? Oh, wait, that's me. No. But it was a crime podcast where it was like, and they kind of, it's just so, I think what I really don't dig about it is that it's inorganic and it's just, they kind of interrupt the flow. And they're like, now I need to make a point, so I'm going to slow it down. And I actually do totally dig it when they're getting through, like I was listening to Dr. Death, which is a Wondery podcast.
Yeah.
Horrifying. And there are moments in it where they do have to slow it down so you can understand the medical information that is coming at you and also just the fucking gravity of the situation. I mean, dramatically, you do want to slow down your narrative when you're talking about something important.
Yes.
But there is this, it's
pacing.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's like the podcast vocal fry. You know what I mean? It's like just this thing that everybody's doing.
Every word has a period after it. That's the feel.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when everyone started tweeting like the word clap hands, you know?
Yes.
Where it's like, just listen to me thing. And I was like, stop it. No one likes that. I don't respond to that.
To tie it into comedy, my favorite comedians are people who have their own unique addictive inflection that everybody else emulates. Like Dave Attell is timeless. Mitch Hedberg is timeless.
Yes.
There's so many, like for comedy, what you're talking about, to really become a master of it and to use language and bend every word to get the maximum squeeze out of every bit is to me like just like mastery on the highest level. But everybody who comes after that and is duplicating that thing, you're just like, you're doing a tell. You're just doing a tell. Like, where is your distinct voice? Where is your distinct rhythm that is your own? And so many people never get there. They never hone their own.
I am so fucking glad to live in LA where I've seen so much good comedy and so many fucking great comics coming up, especially on your show. I definitely, though, like I watched Chelsea Handler's new special recently, Evolution. Blew my fucking mind. If you haven't seen it, everyone should watch it.
Yeah.
And also I was like, holy shit, I've seen like 10 young Chelseas.
Yes.
And I didn't even really realize it. Like I know Sarah Silverman's work really well. And so, you know, like you can hear her whole thing really quickly. And I feel like less people try to emulate her because she's
her
less...
comedy's so unique. Everything she writes is so her.
Yeah, but
it's
Chelsea has that really, like there's something about her that is, I don't know, people just really want to sort of like follow in her rhythm.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my goodness, that's so interesting. Like I'm seeing the master right now, and I've seen so many other people just try and do it.
That's really wild. So I can't wait to listen to podcasts now and be like, everybody's doing Hollywood Handbook.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing.
Let me tell you about this thing. Yeah.
Oh, man, do you have your own rhythm yet? Do you think you found your own self within this?
Yes, absolutely. I will tell you that one thing that I've noticed since you and I started doing this fucking 2+ years ago now is that when I was first listening back to our stuff, and you know we'd record and then we'd listen back and we'd, you know, like we were so new to it.
We would record like 2 hours to get 40 minutes out of an edit because we were like, we don't know, but we want it to be as good as possible at this time.
I think now what I naturally always try to remember is that you're more exciting to be in conversation with. Like I like being in conversation with you when we are animated in the room. Like when I'm actually having a great time talking to you, I'm gesticulating and I'm using my whole body, and that translates to my voice. And that's like an old theater school lesson that they used to teach us to do, like audiobooks and voice work. Is that you know, when you're in the room, when you're in the recording studio, you actually use, you know, you're using the small of your back and your knees and every part of you to tell the story, and that will, you know, infect, bad word to use nowadays, it will inform your voice. And I think that that's something that I've really learned and honed a little bit over this time of recording with you, is that I really try to always remember to like put that into my voice, because I have such a great time with you and I want everyone to hear that.
Thank you.
So
Same.
I hope that works for people.
Yeah.
Do you like me?
This has been another Do You Like Me?
Do you like me? I'm doing chicken wings with my arms right now.
Yeah,
I feel weird. Speaking of Do You Like Me, I got so upset. We have a segment to introduce because I got so upset about people potentially not liking me.
They don't like you. Listen, the Doughboys Reddit came for you in a way that I was a bit taken aback. I couldn't believe.
There was someone on Reddit who said that they were appalled by me when we did the Doughboys Double, talking about Thanksgiving. Like, what a fucking joy to be on that pod. And then how crazy for me to be like, oh no, someone was upset about it because I was dismissive of Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. One, I mean, never read your reviews for sure. Just let it be a joy because it was a joy. Yeah. But two, the thread on Reddit about Mary Jane undersold Canadian Thanksgiving. They made it sound like it was
it may as well be New Year's. And it's just not. We think, but you went the extra fucking mile.
Well, I was like losing sleep over this. I was like going to bed late and lying there.
You woke up, you were like, Doughboys!
Doughboys, someone hates me. Oh God, someone on Reddit said something weird. Someone said that they were appalled at how dismissive I was. I have to do something about this. I need to correct this. And then I was like, oh, we got to call a Canadian. So we called the Canadian. Mm-hmm. And that's our little segment here that we're going to drop in with my friend Allison in Montreal.
With no pretext of talking to her.
Yep.
So everything is in the moment. Uh-huh. There was no setup to this. It is just a Canadian who is putting to bed or highlighting how wrong you were about Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes, we did not feed her any of these answers.
Okay.
And so without further ado, here is Call a Canadian. Hi.
Hi.
This is our segment of Weed and Grub that we're calling Call a Canadian.
I'm so honored.
I mean, we need your very Canadian perspective on Thanksgiving.
Our person on the street, our ear to the street of what's real up north.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I guess I would love to start by hearing, what was your Thanksgiving like growing up?
I don't know. We just have a dinner. And we'd get together and have dinner. Maybe someone would come over.
Right. Maybe someone would come over. There was no massive sort of booking of plane tickets and worried that someone was not going to be able to come from out of town. Any of that kind of stuff.
No.
Right.
No, it was like Easter, It was very, maybe a step up from St. Patrick's Day, but or Valentine's Day, but definitely in the lower priority realm for sure.
Right. And what I think some Americans don't realize is that Canadian Thanksgiving is actually at a totally different time of year. It's at the beginning of October, right? It's more like a harvest festival.
Yeah, it's about plenitude and celebrating all the good food that you have in October. The harvest.
So it doesn't really kick off the holiday season. Like here in the United States, Thanksgiving, the following day is the Black Friday madness, and then that just rolls right into December, and then you're just celebrating until the New Year. Whereas Thanksgiving in Canada doesn't really herald the beginning of a season like it does here.
Yeah, well, you've infected us. So now we're starting to do things like, they're starting to get away with playing Christmas music once Halloween is over kind of thing. So we're starting to get it a little bit into October, but no. I mean, Thanksgiving was over weeks ago, and no, it has nothing to do with anything.
So there were some people who were, they used the word appalled that I had dismissed Canadian Thanksgiving, or people were like, I was so upset that, Mary Jane spoke about Thanksgiving the way she did. And I just really wanted to hand it off to someone else to really talk about.
Well, why? Are they Canadians, these people?
I believe so. I believe there were people who were weighing in from places like PEI was one of them, and someone else who was maybe from Ontario. And they were saying their experience of Thanksgiving was that it was this really big celebration for them. And I was like, that just wasn't my experience. So I wanted to talk to someone else.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Anna Green Gables had a real Thanksgiving thing going on. And now I'm going to get a lot of hate from PEI. No, I'm only kidding. I have no idea what they're talking about. Thanksgiving was really low key here. It always has been. We don't even do the Black Friday thing. We do, but we do it on the same day you do it because it's a good day for international deals on stuff, But no, it was basically a dinner. It would be, I don't know, a nice baked ham, or maybe a turkey, or maybe even a lamb. Just like Easter, except that you don't get chocolate.
Right. And not an all day thing either. This is an evening event, maybe with family if they're around.
Yeah,
right?
Usually for us it was just a lunch actually, and it was just you wake up and then
a quick lunch.
Yeah, well, no, it was a sit down lunch. I mean, we're not pulling out the white tablecloth, but the brown tablecloth.
Hide those gravy stains.
Yeah, and the folks might buy some ginger ale, for the special for the kids, to have some soda, you know.
So I have to ask, where did you grow up and experience this? And then where do you live now?
I had to say soda for your benefit because it's soft drink. But I grew up in Montreal, and I still live in Montreal.
Okay, so we're not talking about a log cabin in the woods that Thomas Kincaid painted when it comes to Canadian. You've had your city experience of what it means.
Oh yeah, I'm completely
for a long time.
I'm a completely urban child. I grew up near the downtown city core, and very normal Quebec childhood.
And I feel like you've always had kind of a good assortment of friends from across the country in your friend group. Do you feel like there are any Canadians that you can think of who would be like, oh my God, Thanksgiving, huge deal, can't wait to fly home and spend 4 to 5 days with family?
No, my God, no one would fly
Right.
somewhere for Thanksgiving.
Thank
no.
you.
Is that
Thank
was
you.
those the key words you were waiting to hear? No one would ever fly anywhere for Thanksgiving. And I can say this, and I'm literally wearing hockey socks right now, so you can take my word for it.
This has been Call a Canadian.
Yeah, it has. What experts.
I think, that pretty much wraps that segment up. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for weighing in on your...
Oh, please.
Can I-
Please use me
wait.
anytime.
Mike has more.
Will do. I just want to say I'm appalled that they're appalled now that I have data to back up what you said.
But now it's going to just start a whole PEI Montreal feud. And, it's gonna get ugly. There's going to be potatoes and then poutine, and it's just being thrown across provinces. It's gonna...
I love this. Yeah, a mashed potato and poutine fight in the streets of Montreal because someone said that Thanksgiving wasn't a big deal. Sounds pretty great to me.
So, Allison, if things get stirred up again and Mary Jane ends up on TMZ, can you be our Canadian correspondent for Call a Canadian to put some things either to rest or
Yes.
enlighten us?
Please, I would just love to be a regular Call a Canuck person for you.
our Canadian contextualizer.
Yes. And
Awesome.
Speaking of which, just let's take a moment to bow our heads for the great Alex Trebek, who we lost just recently.
Yes.
Great Canadian,
A wonderful Canadian, for sure.
And that's the first thing a Canadian will tell you is who is Canadian.
Yep.
And
That's always a sign when they're like, we will own certain Canadians, but then not others. Like, I'm always quick to claim Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. Not so much with Bieber.
oh yeah, right. I always forget Bieber, of course.
Yeah, we do forget conveniently.
Yeah. Whereas I'm always like Keanu. Yeah, he's one of ours.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then
That's right. Well, he's a child of the globe.
Yeah, he is, but he grew up in Toronto.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us for Call a Canadian. We will be sure to call you back next time we need something debunked or confirmed from the north side of the border.
Okay, well, next time I hope you guys have some nice moose sound effect to play at the beginning, at the end of each segment. So just ooh, Call a Canadian.
We'll get right on it.
Well.
Well. Turns out Thanksgiving isn't such a big deal in Canada after all. Are you hearing me? Doughboys fans on the Reddit thread. I'm going to post this. I'm going to tag you. I'm going to make sure that you know that there's another Canadian who also thinks that Thanksgiving is not a big deal in Canada and that you would eat some ham if it was around.
How do you feel right now?
Vindicated. Also, petty as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Petty as fuck. I think that that's about as petty as I can get.
Yeah, but no more restless nights.
I mean, Jesus, what is your podcast for if not to correct the wrongs done on some other podcast?
From strangers on Reddit.
What the fuck else are we here for? I'm going to come back and be like, well, I also listen, on my podcast, I'm going to talk about how I was double right.
Yeah.
Here's someone else to say the same thing. Jeez Louise. Anyway, thank you, Nick and Mitch, for having us. We love you.
Yes, and also thank you, Allison.
And thank you, Allison, for being our Call a Canadian.
Oh, man. Well done.
Thank you. Also, I want to come up with more segments to have our correspondent from north of the border weigh in on.
Oh, okay. Well, then should we do a little call out
Yeah.
for anybody who wants some true Canadian information about anything at all?
Right, from the true north, strong and free, not just a Canadian living in LA, but an actual real Canadian living in Quebec. What do you want to know? Get at us.
I'd love to. I have some questions. So,
Yeah.
if nothing...
Do you put your shoes on one at a time, or?
That's crazy. Do you know anyone who goes sock shoe, sock shoe? Have we talked about that?
No. Is there someone who does that?
Yeah.
Who?
My friend has a new son, like new, but like knows how to get dressed now. I don't know what age that is, but they're still new. But they do sock shoe when they get dressed.
Oh my
and they're a
God.
kid, and I'm like, you need to put a fucking pin in that right now. That kid is gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's gonna be, but that ain't okay.
That's not going to work out at all. You want both socks on for when the bear coming after you is, or whatever it is. If you just have one sock, well, I don't know. Maybe it's genius. Maybe we should listen to
What's
the child.
genius about that?
I don't know. Maybe we should listen
really,
to the wisdom of the children.
I'll never listen to a child. The difference is it's almost like the idea of multitasking versus doing one thing to completion and then doing another thing to completion. And maybe I'm not wrong. I don't want this child to be right, but I do think there's something to learning sock shoe, where it's like, I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to finish it on my list, and then I'm going to do another thing on my list, instead of people like me who are like, I'm going to do a little bit of everything and then hopefully it all gets done sometime.
Well, yeah, but I would argue that putting both of your socks on is finishing that thing on your list.
Finishing my sock. You're right.
You're not putting like one sock and one shoe on and then you're done on that side.
Thank you. This kid's wrong. This fucking kid's wrong.
Man.
I'm starting a new Reddit thread.
Okay.
And it's called Sock Shoe versus Sock.
Yeah.
And I want to hear who is a psychopath.
You know what I loved growing up? My dad, when he would always sit down. He had a whole routine. It was very Mr. Rogers, actually, because he didn't wear shoes inside the house, and so he would always change out of his shoes into his slippers when he came home, and then he would change out of his slippers into there was a whole routine. And when he would pick up his shoe, he would shake it. And I remember never really asking why until finally one day when I was kind of really 10 or 11. I was like, Dad, why do you shake out your shoes? And he said, to make sure there are no scorpions inside.
Whoa.
And we were in Newfoundland, and I was like, what? And he was like, I just learned it when I was little, because he'd grown up in India.
Oh.
He was in India until he was 8 or 9, and so you had to shake out your shoe.
For scorpion.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Isn't that neat?
So the title of this one is Fancy Claire's and Scorpion Shoes?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And wild burrito eaters.
And wild burrito eaters.
Yeah.
Oh man. You want to talk about some drama.
I think that is, yeah.
We called our friend, my best friend from elementary school, Joel Hadley, because he listened to the last episode. We were talking about burrito techniques and procedures, especially when eating. And he FaceTimed me and was like, I just bought 2 burritos from Chipotle and will report back on my techniques and procedures, because you've got me really thinking about how I want to get the maximum burrito impact per burrito.
Right.
That's a long-winded way of saying we called Joel.
We called Joel. We smoked a lot of weed and called Joel, and really got into it. Broke down, got some wild burrito tales from Culver City.
Yeah, he's the Steve Irwin of burritos, I would say.
Yeah, he is. He's our wild field correspondent. I love that, the Steve Irwin of burritos.
Well, it's because
he doesn't
in
get
the middle
taken
of
out.
Oh, that's true.
Some burrito lashing.
Well, you're just so funny during this talking about how you would eat a burrito if you were a wild animal, and it still tickles me thinking about it in my head. Just it's so fun when something is in your head that no one else can hear, but it makes you laugh out loud. That's a fucking nice reason to be alive. So,
it fucking is, man.
So
yeah.
I guess our second correspondent of the day is a wild burrito eater expert.
Yep.
Joel Hadley?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I guess we're going to turn it over to Joel. And, should we do Buds of the Week before we go?
Shit, yes. We should do Buds of the Week.
We're going to do Buds of the Week, because then we're going to leave you guys with Joel and our very stoned conversation about how to eat a burrito. But first up, we have our friend Alexis, who's launched at Tab Vintage on IG. Give it a follow. This is the most fucking, it's vintage porn, basically. They're
Yeah.
incredible ensembles that she's finding. She's finding like 3-piece Chanel vintage outfits from the runway, and then she's styling them and she's posting them, and everything is for sale. And her, it's an incredible follow, whether or not you can actually, invest in a runway ensemble right now. But then, if you want like a gorgeous statement piece, this is the place to get it, because it's all vintage, it's all recycled, it's incredible.
Yeah. 100%. And then we are also sharing the other butt of the week, Jeff Bravo, at Jeff, and then instead of a B for Bravo, it's a 3. So it's Jeff 3 Ravo. And he DM'd both of us for different things, and both things are so thrilling and exciting. So he hit me up and he was like, yo, heard enough that you were looking for new hip hop. This dude is so underrated, but honestly, he's one of the best. And that dude's name is Jarv. And I haven't listened to the music yet, so I thought I would like drop a little bit of it right now.
Awesome.
And we can see what we think of Jarv.
Jarv.
Yep.
Cool.
You ready?
Okay. Ready.
Almost better than an inward heel flip that I landed. God damn it. I'm so fresh, I confess I can't stand it. Yo, listen up. Let me in there, hear me clear like crystal. A billion kids hit with missiles. Multi-syllable back so we can pack houses.
That's so good.
Yes, sir,
Yes,
Jeff.
that's
You
got
know
some
what I like.
Really good old school vibes.
Yeah.
Really good.
Oh man, my head was swimming with all of these 90s, like even hieroglyphics, which had like Dell and Pep Love and all of these people. That is a great fucking example of the hip hop I love. Jeff, thank you so much. We'll be adding Jarv to the playlists.
That is so dope. Jeff also got in touch with me and said that we need to watch a really great cartoon that will make you feel like a little kid again, called Craig of the Creek. I got to check that out. Thank you for the recommendations, Jeff. That was like really nice to open up a DM and just hear from you about like things that make you feel good.
Yeah. And on that note, before we get to Joel, if anybody is fucking with anything that they're excited by, like, let us know. My whole life revolves around just like wanting to see what's out there and celebrate it and try and enjoy as much as I can with a joint in my mouth.
Yeah.
So hit us up.
On that note, Wanamaka sent us a buffalo chicken stuffed squash.
What?
Yeah, we posted it on our IG stories. I don't maybe you missed it. It was so fucking delicious looking, and I was like, "That's crazy." Share all of your gorgeous food fucking photos, and also I want to know if you're like a small business, like if you have an Etsy store or anything like that. I think like shopping season is coming up. Gift ideas, like hit us up, tag at Weed and Grub so we can share you in our stories so people like know where to shop for like cool gifts that maybe you're making. Like our friend Andrea Guzzetta is making really beautiful. I'd like to actually put her in the show notes. She's making she makes stained glass and she's making pendants and really cool small paintings.
Awesome.
So just like cool gift ideas.
Yes.
Hit us up.
Word. We want to get to Joel?
Yeah.
All right. Here is for the ninth
This
intro.
was like all over the place.
And we're still not getting to it. What the fuck is wrong with us?
We've had a day. Woo. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Take it away.
Joel. What up, Joel?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? What's going on, Mary Jane?
It's so awesome to have you as our burrito correspondent for this episode.
I'm really excited to share with you my findings. I kind of doubled down on this thing. You guys had me thinking burritos, so thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah, out in the field, outstanding in your field as a burrito correspondent. You're coming to us with
A field-a-rito?
You're a field-a-rito.
Absolutely 100%. It was scary to walk back and eat them by myself. It was a burrito, but I decided to manage. I managed, and I even made some breakfast tacos this morning with the air fryer that you guys have had before, a mini version of our burritos that I decided to bite into to see what the difference might be on a smaller scale.
Okay, so let's start with this because we should give a little bit of background so that people know your burrito expertise. Because when we did all safely go to this cabin a couple weeks ago, you made incredible air fryer breakfast burritos. So can you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your burrito background?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Big fan of burritos in general, but breakfast more than anything, brunch more than anything, and breakfast burritos. So we happen to have been at Big Bear, a little bit better than Medium Bear, twice as good as Small Bear. And when we were there, we all kind of took turns cooking, and that was awesome. My mission was to make very big, delicious breakfast burritos that could then, after being made, with all the inside stuff made, just roll it up and then throw it into the air fryer for a minute or two so it could crisp up around it, and then you could take little crispy bites. that ended up being a pretty good move. I made miniature versions of them with smaller tortillas today, with like a small round versus the big rounds. And, tried to taste test some of this, kind of not taste test, but rather test the consistency of how to eat it from one way versus the other, which I guess you guys should explain because I was listening, obviously, as one does to Weed and Grub. And clearly the burrito thing caught my stomach and my imagination.
Right. So I would say that I would definitely be all about your small round tiny burrito because I'm a one and done, stuff it in and swallow kind of gal. Love that. And Mike is a put the tip in and dip it.
Yeah, I'm a tip and dip.
You're a tip and dip.
And you're a stuff it and swallow?
I'm a stuff and swallow.
Damn.
So where do you fall?
Man, I kind of combine yours. I just tongue it down. And then from there, just kind of bite into it or nibble around the edges. No, I'm similar. I like to, instead of dip the tip, I like to smother the tip with like a little bit of salsa or something per bite. And if I can next level it, it'll be me with a chip and some either guac or some salsa that I'll feed onto each bite as I take that bite. And then follow that bite up with a little crunch with the chip that I was holding as the vehicle.
That's brilliant.
That's about if I have them.
That's like sex toys for burritos. You're like adding other implements into the experience.
Eating is a sexy thing on its own.
I
Yeah.
never think of chips as forks, and that is kind of blowing my mind right now.
It's because they're spoons.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I was on my night walk, and Joel FaceTimed me as he was coming back from Chipotle because he had listened to the episode, and he was going to try a bunch of different how-to-eat burrito procedures. And we kind of got into the weeds a bit, and then we were like, we should wait for the pod. So I don't want to spoil the little bit that I do know, but I would love Joel to kind of like, lay out the foundation from finding out that you had the plug at Chipotle all the way through your experience.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely got the hookup re-downloading the app and getting a buy one, get one burrito. So that changed the entire course of, where this story was going to go. I was going to do a one, and then try eating right from the middle, like a saddlebag, and see how this thing works. Getting a second one, very...
Fogo burrito.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How could you go wrong? And then I said, you know what? Give me a big thing of guac. They were closing. They hooked me up with some extra guac. Shout out to Chipotle over here in Culver City.
Closing time guac, fucking the best.
Yeah, no complaints. But then I got home and started going to town. One of the burritos was so overwhelmingly stuffed with stuff, so I appreciated that it was slightly open. So that's the one I decided to go with, the upright Citizens burrito, where I ate it from the top down. And it was exactly what you think it was. It was fantastic. And that's where I used the chip and guac method. A little bit of guac on each bite. Delightful. A little crunch with the chip in there for some extra salt. But
before we get to the second one, I want to dissect that first one a little bit.
Yeah, we got to talk about the layering technique, because was it sufficiently sort of done so that every bite had a little bit of something, or was it packed by someone who had sort of put it in compartments and each bite was a different thing? Because we've gotten into this before on this podcast, and there are some real psychopaths out there who make their burritos with it's like this, like when the rocket launch and the rings fall off and each part is a different thing. It's like...
This was not a 7-layer burrito, thankfully.
Okay, good.
This was a proper burrito where everything was, each bite brought delight. And so the chip method top down, you had something to catch all the juice. I didn't have anything leaking through my hands. It was masterfully rolled on one side. The other side,
the butthole was tight.
Very tight. Yes, they had a butt plug, a burrito plug. It was delicious. That last bite was a big last bite because you can't even bother trying to fold it up. It's just all the stuff falling out and you just go crazy.
The butt plug as the last bite is it's a powerful image.
Oh man, that is the last time I ate that ass that good was another story for another session, but that was not.
All right, we'll have you back.
That was another burrito.
You could be our field reporter for burritos and eating ass.
Yeah, great.
Before we get into the second one, did you get different burrito
I did.
You did. So what was inside the first one, and then what was inside the second one?
Okay, great question. I made the decision really on the fly for sure when I was there. I was like, well, I'm probably going to get a steak or a chicken burrito for sure. And then I got there and they were like, oh, we've got that one sirloin burrito for now or whatever the hell it was. And I was like, it wasn't sirloin. It was something better than that. But I got that. I got whatever their special was, and then I got a chicken burrito. The only difference was I got sour cream in one, and I didn't get sour cream in the other, and I switched up one of the salsas as well. But otherwise, it was fajita veggies, it was black beans, it was brown rice, it was the corn spicy stuff, it was the red regular salsa one on one of them, and then it was the green one in another one. It was a delight. It's a treat to have them together.
Which did you pair the sour cream with? Where'd the sour cream go?
Yeah, the sour cream went with the chicken burrito.
Which was green or red salsa?
Which was green salsa.
Yes!
It was a delight.
Thank you.
It was.
That sounds so good.
They all shook hands. They were like, oh, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. And then they're like, got out there and played well together. It was a good team effort.
And it's so good to hear you got the veggies, man. Like, if you don't get those skillet veggies in your meat
What's the
burrito,
point?
what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I get some people don't want rice or beans. I want rice and beans. But I want those black beans. For me, it's a difference maker.
Yeah, those refried beans are pretty...
Stick to the ribs. Stick too much.
Yeah, and they repeat, you know? You know what I'm saying?
They're
I mean, I
they're
know I'm alone
refried.
in all of these situations, but yeah, those things come back at you at 2 a.m. Dutch oven. Know what I'm saying? I have a dog and a cat who let me know. They're like, oh, no, don't do that to us. We are not appreciative.
You really got to plan a burrito, huh?
Oh, man. I have a whole thing. I take a day off. It's a holiday where I'm from. Fuck Thanksgiving. It's burrito day.
Oh, I got to call in tomorrow. You know, I'm having burritos today.
It's burrito day. It's my birthday, burrito day, and I don't know, Halloween. Those are the days I take off.
The second burrito, as we move into it, I tried the sideways bite. I tried this fucking... I don't know. You have to be a villain to eat them this way. I don't understand why this is a thing. It's not a corn on the cob. It's not like...
What, like a great white shark?
Like, how would you hold a burrito if it was wrapped up, it was sealed on both sides? Where are you taking that first middle... Like, you're going to bite it from not either end. How are you going to start? Because this is where I was like, well, I guess the line's drawn in the sand. I'm just going to go for it. I had no preconceived technique down. Like, how would you guys bite into that? Because I know how I did.
Yeah. Like on a freestyle bite,
Yeah.
I think that I would, if it was still wrapped in its aluminum, I would unwrap the middle, and I would, like, eat my way through the middle so that then I had two halves still in the aluminum foil.
Oh, like a worm through an apple?
Yeah, I would.
That's so smart. That's such a good idea. You risk getting a little foil bite if you have if you have fillings. It sparks off that metal on metal. No bueno. But
Yeah,
that's a smart
microwave your
idea.
mind.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I was just thinking, I would be like, you know, when you see those like great whites hit a seal from underneath, like, I would just like, or like sometimes my dog Archie has a toy panda that he attacks, like he's pretending to play that game. Like, that's how I would hit it, like hard and fast and from the middle, and then just fucking, you know, shake it all around. I would make sure that I was wearing a rain poncho. Again, this is not a social event.
You're exactly right. I was not winning any roses or hearts that night. I'll tell you, it was hilarious though. I did exactly what you mentioned. Really, there, Mary Jane. I covered my entire lap in multiple like paper towels and napkins, just expecting it to fall, and of course a plate. And then I just kind of held it with both hands. I tried to take that first bite, middle top down, incisors first. Just went deep. And then I realized I had to hold it like a little rockabye baby the whole time. The rest of the time, I was sitting there and eating it ass up like that. It was really funny and uncomfortable to eat it that way. Would not recommend again. Will
It
try
sounds like
again.
You were like a cannibal eating a human baby. Like, it just, the images of you like going incisors in and then like rocking it as you finished it off is like, wow.
Yeah, it was equally delicious. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. It was far messier and made far less sense. If you'd been doing play-by-play of me eating this burrito, you'd have been like, and he's lost control of the wheel and gone off the road, and then you wouldn't know what to do there. You'd be like, it's a free-for-all,
I love the idea that it could, if it was like a race car, experience, and like there's like some team that could like put you into a pit and like re-prep your burritos so that you could like take it back out on the racetrack again. Like we've like, taking them in. We're like, okay, there you go.
A pit stop.
Burrito pit stop.
Yeah. The difference between the techniques is I could drive and eat a burrito and even use my knees if needed be to eat it top down like a normal person does. But if I had to try and eat it the two-handed method, I would have to only be driving a straightaway. I couldn't turn the car very well with my knees or anything, and I would be risking, epic crash and failure. So have you guys tried this technique yet? This isn't the first time it's been discussed on the pod, if I'm not mistaken.
I've tried eating the middle. I think what I'm realizing in this whole conversation is how much I hate the liquid in the burrito. Like, I know it's necessary, but it just reminds me too much of like the water that comes out of a ketchup before the actual ketchup. And so, I don't really even love the last couple bites around the butthole because that's where all the liquid pools up. And now I think that's the only benefit of eating the middle first would be all the liquid gets out of there so I don't have to deal with it because it's on my lap.
So would you
about it.
Hold it over your face? Like how would you
I'd Gatorade
it. You'd create a Nalgene with the middle open part?
You would prefer like a dry, crumbly burrito to like, because there's a wet, like you get your burritos wet.
I'll never get a wet burrito.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh, I love a wet burrito. Okay, interesting.
But are you eating a wet burrito with a fork?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Because isn't it slathered in shit if it's wet?
Yeah.
You let your hands get that messy?
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
I mean,
listen, I'm all about it. I love it.
Yeah, that sounds delightful. Don't get me wrong. You just got to not do anything else.
I have one of those like plastic tablecloths that I put out.
Like Dexter?
Yep.
Nice. Going to work.
Hot sauce, bib tuck, all good.
Bib tuck, is that the nip tuck spinoff where you cut into burritos?
Exactly. Bib/tuck. That's great.
Well, I guess my final question is, did you really eat 2 overstuffed huge Chipotle burritos in one sitting with 2 different techniques?
Not in one sitting. I had to give it a couple hours spaced out so I could space out, and then I definitely consumed the second one before the end of the evening. So I ate one for dinner, and then I ate one for second dinner.
I just pictured how, when like an anaconda will like drag a capybara out and then like go and digest, and you can see the snake and like the shape of the capybara. It's like you lying on your bed and we can just see the burrito. Like,
what do you think my calves are? My calves are just burritos. They just wriggle down there. I swallow it and then it just goes and fits down my hollow legs.
One burrito each? That's gonna be great.
It is really funny to picture in the wild, like somebody putting a burrito really high up in a tree so that nobody else can get to it.
Or burying your burritos.
Yes, you save it for later.
Put it under a log. I'm like doing the crocodile roll with my burrito. Like stuffing it under an underwater log. Don't fucking come near my burrito. Oh, the wild burrito eaters. Yeah.
I can see like gator catchers or whatever, gator hunters using those as bait, just like putting it on a fishing pole and flinging out a burrito. See if they can catch anything. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's so funny.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and talk to you again.
Definitely. Thanks for the love and the vibes. Happy energy.
Thanks, Joel.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.